There are currently over 3 million COVID cases in the world, and I am one of those 3 million cases. Hey guys, I'm Armenti, and in today's video, I will be talking about my experience with COVID-19. If I were to describe this whole experience in a one word, I would definitely say tough. It was really hard since the start to the finish. Every day was just very difficult. It was just very tough to go through. The thing about this virus is that it hits people different. For example, some people are asymptomatic, which means they have the virus but they don't have the symptoms. For me, I was symptomatic. I had the virus and I had the symptoms. So it was pretty tough overall to go through. And yeah, so I'm gonna be talking about my whole experience with it. So on April 22nd, I wasn't feeling that well. I had a regular headache and I just was feeling very tired overall. So I just took some medicine and I guess I went to bed. And then Thursday, I woke up and I wasn't feeling any better. Throughout the whole day, my head was just killing me. And then Friday, the same story. Saturday, the same story. And then until Sunday at middle of the day, my fever was very high. So I decided to tell my parents to take me to the hospital, so we went. And when we got there, I got some tests done. They did the COVID test to me. The results, it takes around 1 or 2 days to get back, so they couldn't tell me on the spot if I had it or not. So they sent me back to my house. And then on Monday, April 27th, I went back to the hospital because I wasn't feeling any better. And they just decided to take me in. And I still had a lot of symptoms. My head was hurting. I had fever. I had a sore throat. My neck was hurting. My ears were hurting. My eyes were hurting. I guess like everything was just hurting a lot. So they take me in the hospital and they put me in a room. And this was around, I got to the hospital at around 3 p.m. and they finally placed me in a hospital room around 10 p.m. And then at around 11 p.m. the nurse comes in and she tells me that they have detected COVID in my system, which means that I was COVID positive. Initially I took this very difficult. As soon as the nurse told me that, I began crying. And I called my family and I told them about it. It was very tough for a nurse to just come up to you and tell you, like, hey, you're COVID positive. I mean, no one ever expects that and no one would ever expect that. But sadly, it was the reality with me. So when the nurse told me that, I knew that I was symptomatic because I had the symptoms of the virus. And yeah, so I called my family and as I was crying, and yeah, they took me in and began my treatment, I guess. So basically it was a whole week in the hospital from April 27th until yesterday, Monday 4th. And basically they were giving me all sorts of medicine for a whole week, doing all sorts of tests, all sorts of blood tests, everything you could imagine. And yeah, so they kept doing that for a couple of weeks. It was very tiring. For example, a regular night for me in the hospital would have been that at 4 a.m. the nurse came up to me and took some blood samples and then I went back to bed. So it was very tough overall. Each time the nurse took my blood samples, I had a ton of blood samples taken from me, a lot of tests done. Something that was difficult through these times was finding motivation. I mean, I was in the bed, I was feeling very bad. My head was hurting, my whole body was hurting. I was getting medicine by the second. So I turned to you guys and I began reading your comments, and that definitely was a mood booster. I talked to family, I talked to friends, I talked to you guys, and that definitely made me feel a lot better. Because it's really tough, because I was in a room for a whole week. I couldn't leave the hospital room, so there wasn't much to do other than just get the medicine and I guess be on my phone. And I couldn't even be on my phone that long because then my head began to hurt. It was one of the toughest weeks I've experienced. But thankfully, when the week was over, in May 4th, I got tested again, and I tested negative, which means that I no longer have any COVID in my body, which is good. Now as to how I got the virus, I genuinely have no clue. I haven't left my house in over a month, and then one day to the other I suddenly began to feel bad. So I don't really know what to say about this. So I don't really know how I got the virus. It's really difficult to tell. But yeah, guys, this is my experience with the virus. I hope that you guys stay safe, and hopefully this video gives you a better insight as to the whole virus and everything. But yeah.